Just doing a little more setup. Currently blinded by my own lights. Please. This lights. It's killing me. Okay, there we go. We're gonna do boom, like that, like that. Hey Ender, hey Nick, how's it going? Let's get this facing me. Wait, no. That's what you're saying. Wait, no, it's you. Hey Oliver, how's it going? We got a good crew together today. Let me make the chat bigger because I'm 28 now and my eyes don't work like they used to. It was my birthday, by the way. I think I streamed once since then, actually. So you guys already know. Hey Proton, how's it going? Okay, so I've got coffee. Are we doing infra stuff today? Yeah, I think so. Um, I was thinking it looks like Dockhand. Sorry, I'm gonna minimize some of this stuff so that I look that way at you all. There we go. That's already an improvement. Okay. Thank you, thank you. 28. Yeah, holy unk, indeed. Um, so yes. As for the home lab, I'm thinking we're gonna explore Dockhand some more today. So I think what I'll do we'll go over that document because it's been a couple of weeks. We were drafting a document, sort of planning out the whole home labbiness, um, and I think we want to. I want to set out some design principles. What do we want this home lab to achieve? I want to talk about reproducibility, disaster recovery, those sorts of things. That has me leaning in the direction of GitOps type things, and Dockhand seems really cool for that. So I think what we might do is talk a little bit about the principles, and then maybe spin up Dockhand and look at what distro or operating system we want as our Docker host. Um, my instinct would, of course, be Debian as a Proxmox VM. I'm leaning more and more towards the TrueNAS scale, um, like Proxmox as the main thing, and TrueNAS scale virtualized with the Proxmox backup server type of thing. That seems really cool and self-contained. And then I'm thinking about virtualizing Zima OS purely. What the heck? Oh, that's what that is. Purely for the Zima client because that easy backup is like really really nice. So I'm thinking about that. Let me just launch caffeine. Um, where's my cursor? I know how computers work, right? Mostly. Does anyone know how computers work? Is that maybe too bold a statement? Okay, there we go. All right, found my cursor. We are chilling. I'm gonna close that because I will dox myself. TrueNAS, interesting. I feel like I barely hear about it anymore. I feel like that's kind of a good thing. Hey, how's it going? Day loop. Um, I feel like that's a good thing. Like TrueNAS is like a very mature solution, and I kind of don't want to hear about extremely mature solutions. And when it comes to my NAS, I want that, right? I want like it's like, do you ever hear about Debian except for when Debian gets released? It's like no, why? Because nothing goes wrong. Like it's not sexy, but it works. And I'm feeling very much that's the direction I would like for my workstation and for my NAS setup. I'm um, I have had my fun as like an Arch Linux guy, and I'm sick of things breaking. I will have to figure out tiling window manager situation. I mean, don't get me wrong. Arch is a lot of fun. I think it's a phenomenal thing to use at least once, and it has many good use cases. So that's not a knock on Arch. It is kind of just the way that I'm leaning these days. I have a lot going on, and so yeah, be boring, make it work is kind of where I'm leaning. But um, there's a time and place for doing some fun stuff, you know. Um, Me when I forget most people are not in fact extremely Nix brained. I hate state drift. I mean, yeah, I haven't done the Nix thing and I'm not ready for it, but it is really cool to me, and I really want to get there one day. Dayloop asking, you ever built a PC part by part? I just built one and trying to figure out fan speed tuning. Them curves. I am feeling lost right now. I've built a number of PCs, but never to that extent. I've never like done fan speed tuning. Um, Most of the time, I'm very satisfied with like my computer works, the cables are somewhat managed, and things seem to be going well. You know. Prince Casper says, I'm still a newbie with self-hosting and Docker stuff, but yesterday I set up Forge.jo on my home server, so now Microsoft can't train their AI on my code anymore. Oh, is that like a is it like Git T kind of thing? That sounds really cool. Congrats on the self-hosting. It's a really fun rabbit hole, and honestly, I consider myself like I don't consider myself an expert by any means, so you're in good company here. Sway and KDE scripts are probably your best bet for tiling on Debian. Yeah, um, yeah, I don't know. I think I may end up going with like because one of my very very early videos was GNOME Forge, which was like a tiling extension for GNOME, and I think I'll probably do that because um, I don't want to deal with setting up a tiling window manager again. Been there. Um, yeah. I think Omarchi was a fun experiment, but Arch is just not as stable as I would like it to be. Forge Joe is a Git T fork, hard fork now. Okay, cool. I've just swapped over to NixOS on my laptop, and I'm realizing that God damn it, I can't have Mason be a thing here. Mason, Mason, like the NeoVim plugin. Also, I've managed to bork an open bow install so hard I started causing 403 errors. I need to set up a call with someone on the Linux Foundation Zulip on that. Whoa, that's interesting. What is open bow? I don't think I've seen that yet. I'm trying to balance my PC being silent and not heat to death at the same time. Ah, okay, that's a lot of fun. Hey, Dixie, how's it going? Oh, true. I guess I just always block out GNOME. I tried it when I first started and really didn't like it, so never used it again. That's fair. I was very much a KDE Plasma person for a long time. I found myself more happy with GNOME after I'd explored Mac OS some. Like GNOME really, like when they say Plasma is more Windowsy and GNOME is more Mac-y, that's accurate. You can also try out Paper Window Manager. It's the original scrolling window manager. It's just a GNOME extension, and I use it before switching to Neri. Oh, interesting. Okay. OpenBow is a fork of HashiCorp. Oh, okay. I'm familiar. HashiCorp Vault. Yeah, I was dealing with some HashiCorp Vault stuff today actually, so that's fun. Um, okay, yeah. So I don't know. We'll get to stuff. I'm having fun catching up with everybody. I feel like I say that very often and then we don't do any work, but whatever. I have been feeling very unmotivated and frustrated with life recently. So uh it's I'm happy to be streaming. Streaming is by far my favorite part of content creation. Um it's like putting stuff up on YouTube, like the videos, is very difficult because no matter, like, we have a very very positive community. I feel like we're working on very positive things. Hey Tim, how's it going? And so for the most part, things are really quite nice. But every once in a while, you get a huge influx of mean comments, and even when it's just a handful, it can be very disheartening. So I've been kind of like, recovering from sprinting out 4 videos and almost none of them doing well. So, but streaming with you all is always a great time because I don't know, it feels like my favorite folks in the community sort of popping by and we all just sort of chat and have a good time. So, thanks for all being here. Thanks for chatting. Joseph Foster says, watched the intro prelim video, but haven't tuned in since then. Can you give a quick summary of the setup so far? We have no setup so far. we have just been, whoa, 25 viewers? All right. Cool. Hi everybody. Um let's do this. My webcam's not working, which is, awesome. Let's see. So we have state of the channel? No. PhD dropout. We're looking, I'm guessing self-hosting. Yes. Okay. This is what we've got. Well, are you happy with the videos? That was the hardest part, because I was very happy with them, and I was very excited and very happy, and then to kind of find out that I was like wrong in my assessment or that I'm misaligned or something, that can be quite challenging. Okay, what do we got over here though? So this is basically the state of the Homelab. It's a document. And what I want to do is like basically dedicate the year to developing the Homelab really well. And documenting it and going slowly. So we've been sort of thinking about it. And yeah, we're sort of just, I don't know. I think what I want to do today is explore some stuff. So the thing I want to explore, let me throw this over here. The thing I want to explore the most is Dockhand. I saw the message on Discord. Just remember that haters are probably too... I love the content. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Okay, so Dockhand looks interesting to me because it feels like there was a Kubernetes thing that we spent a long time setting up on multiple streams a little while ago that this seems to act like or be like. It's let's just take a look at a few of these things. There was a GitOps part of it that really gets me kind of wiggling. Deploy stacks from Git repos is a big deal for me because GitOps is like one of the most exciting things in my mind for when I think of reproducibility, that's kind of what I think. With good docs, AI can generate really good Docker Compose files. Also true. I see Navidrome for music and I approve. Thank you, thank you. Yes, I agree. That took me a second to parse until I realized we were basically just calling... I gotta learn how to not text in sentence fragments. My English teacher might have an actual heart attack. Kubernetes thing we were taking a long time to set. Do we have any idea how little that narrows it down? Yes, we did a lot of that. So I think what I want to do today is just spin up a container running this and explore. That's kind of what I think I want to do. You can see it tracks multiple Docker host environments, which is really quite nice. I don't know how to, like, they need a little bit more. Oh, there's docs. I'm actually just an idiot, I guess. Because I was scrolling through their thing and saw none of that. And what are you gonna do? We don't need to do manage remote Docker hosts yet. I don't know what the Postgres thing is for. Postgres instead of SQLite? I don't actually know how much I care. Does it handle swarms and volumes? It looks like it handles volumes. I don't know if it handles hosts, but I'm guessing like it has environments, which are different machines. So yeah. Oh, what do we got? Hi, everyone. I have a question. I know nothing about these things. Does self-hosting mean we can make our own thing where we put our own documents without going through platforms like Google Drive? Yes, that is one of the things we can do. So there are a couple of options for that kind of thing. Self-hosting is one of the names we would use. We might use self-hosting or home-labbing. This means that you can have your own thing. Yes. Looks like the chat is here to help. Okay. So Yeah, we're kind of going along here. Where was I? This I think we want to do database things, but I might just test quickly. I don't know if they do if they do swarms. Swarm? I also don't know if I'm gonna do swarm stuff. I mean, I'm probably not. Okay, maybe. Git. Woohoo! Manage Git credentials and repositories for stack deployment. Cool URL, branch, credential. I like this. I like this a lot. Manage Git credentials and repositories for stack deployment. Image management. Oh, compose stacks. Okay, what are they calling a stack? Is that just a Docker compose? Like, yeah, okay. For multi-container applications, Dockhand supports both manually created stacks and stacks deployed from Git repositories. Source of truth, compose files live on the Dockhand node. You don't need to manually sync or copy files to remote servers. Okay, Dockhand remote deployment architecture. Dockhand acts as a centralized control plane. When you deploy a stack to a remote node, Dockhand reads the Docker compose YAML file from its own local file system and sends the instructions. Okay. How does that work if we have Git repos? Is it just cloning them? What monitor are you using? I forget the exact. It's an Alienware 34-inch 4K 240 hertz monitor, and I love the thing. What do we got? To back up, a decent amount of my Docker Compose files, with the exception of the ones I used to learn to compose, were made by AI. Been working since I made it like 8 months ago. Oh, cool. I have a few standards I like to impose. Always use user 1000,000, never use privileged, avoid syscontrols. Excuse me, usually write. I write my own, but it's nice to have it spit out a compose with those things. Yeah, that's fair. Do you already have Kubernetes server up? I do, but I ain't touching that for a while. I'm burnt out on Kubernetes. It made it too hard to produce like content because like everything you do on Kubernetes is a boatload of work, and I kind of just want to explore some things a little bit more quickly. So we're doing the Docker thing. Yeah, no problem. Welcome to stream. Glad you got your question answered. Okay. Stack definition starts centrally on the Dockhand node. Okay, stack types. Here we go. Dockhand categorizes stacks based on how they're managed. So internal, Dockhand knows the compose file location and can fully manage the stack, edit, save, deploy. This includes stacks created in Dockhand and imported stacks. Okay, Git. Deploy from a Git repository with automatic sync and updates. Like that. Stack discovered running via Docker, but Dockhand doesn't know where its compose file is located. Okay. So I guess my question is like, I really hope I don't need a separate repository for each thing, right? I think we should just run this. I think that's the solution. We just run it and see what happens, right? I think so. All right, we're gonna do that. In the meantime, before we get into more techie things, is there anything? Does anybody want to update? Does anybody have any topics to yap about before we dive into things? I want to leave that open for chat. Because sometimes I like to do the techier things towards the end of stream and leave open like a discussion section. Okay. What am I doing? Where's my Proxmox? There I go. It's on 34. Is that right? 8006. Let's talk about how stream goes off topic. How can I learn these things you're doing, though? When I say I know nothing, I mean near zero. Oh, that's fair. That's where would I start? Where would I start with that? I think I would start learning just a little bit of Linux. I have a video that introduces you. Yeah, that is a great question, and I don't have a good answer. But I think maybe starting to explore a little bit of Linux would be a good start. I have a YouTube video on installing Linux Mint that sort of walks you through a couple of like introductory things. Network Chuck, also a good resource. How do I learn tech stuff? Yeah, indeed. Tough question. Since you went to U of T, did you ever see any of the youth spring programs? I think I saw them about, but I never like really interacted. Um, I was thinking of taking the youth law school. Very cool. Yeah. The question we ask here is too much voodoo for our purposes. Yes. Okay. I think it's been a while since I used Proxmox, my little Prox box. Okay. We're just going to create a new one of these. Let's take a look. There was a container-centric, no problem. There was a container-centric distro I was interested in a little while ago. And we might consider that. I'm not interested in any of these. Photon? I think we're just going to go Debian. I'm pretty sure we're just going Debian. Wow, the top 5 best Docker container operating systems. And it's the top 5 most known ones. Amazing. Ah, Talos. That's the one I was thinking about. Okay. Okay, this is Kubernetes oriented. Talos Linux scales up to hundreds of systems or down to containers on your local system, the same API driven OS everywhere. Declarative configuration. So what exactly is this? Omni is the best way to run Talos securely and at scale, fully API driven with a modern UI. I feel like I don't need all this. Starts with a cluster. This sounds like management on top of management that I don't need. Do you know what I mean, guys? You know what I'm talking about? Hey, Plus, how's it going? Good evening. Good evening. Did I hear Debian? Admittedly, I still use Docker CE from the repo instead of Debian's. Yeah, I think I will too. I'm considering I want to explore Dockhand, right? Because Dockhand seems like a really cool Docker management thing. So we're spinning up a VM to be our like exploratory Docker host, and I'm just briefly considering anything other than Debian. I'm pretty sure that won't last long. Because like, I'm not doing Kubernetes again. Hey, Lo-Fi Turtle, how's it going? This makes me want to control W and install something normal. Hello, Northern Chimp. Management on top of management. That's how I feel about Kate's generally. Yeah. Yeah, this all looks like stuff that I don't need. All right, whatever. Create VM. I don't need this one to be long-lived. So why not 100? Docker test. ISO image. Do I want a newer Debian image? No, I don't care. I'll just update. All of this is going to be fine. Let's give it 64. Let's give it 2 cores. And we'll give it... Actually, you know what? I want this to be quick and I don't want to have to deal with problems. So we'll bump it up a little bit. It'll be a juicy one. And we'll take it from there. I've heard good things about Longhorn. Tell me more about that. Looks like we're planning for real tonight. Yes, well, tonight we're exploring. That's our game plan. So the end goal is still developing our planning doc a little bit more, but I do want to. I think we need to do some experimentation to figure it out. I think this PC's got like 32 gigs. I think. I could totally be wrong. Who knows? Console. Uh oh, right. I always forget. Um, Firefox handles this much better. And let's go over here. Install. There we go. Not caring about using lots of RAM is the new kind of flexing. True. Hey, I bought this thing way before the RAM issues. I swear. I am far from the wealthiest kid on the block. All right, what do we got? Longhorn is the easiest way to set up distributed storage for volumes, like Ceph, but easier. I've heard good things about that. If you get a Mac Mini, you can get like 256 gigabytes of RAM. True, Mac Minis are like the new big thing with the OpenClaw situation going on. That's yeah. I don't know how I'm feeling about that. I mean, like with my Homelab, I like to stay on x86 hardware. The Mac Mini is really cool. I'd like to just own one, but I do not have. I'd like to just own some random piece of tech kind of money. Okay, so that's gonna do its thing or whatever. Let's see. In the meantime, let me add something to my Goodreads. I'm currently reading The World of Odysseus. So that's fun. Ah, there we go. Host name. What do we want to call this? What do we want to call this thing? I don't know. It's I'm gonna call it Dockhand because that's basically what it's doing. You can make something up, whatever. I think I do. I think I call it this. Ooh, Asimov's Foundation. That's exciting. How's that going? Proxmox 9 to 9.1.5 could be a good idea too. Oh, what's they got anything juicy in the update, or is it just I should probably update for security stuff? Yes. We're gonna go one partition. It's very political, and also there's a lot of pseudo math. Interesting but political. Well, see, I used to be a very much against the sentiment that everything is political. Uh, but the more I exist, the more everything seems to be annoyingly political. It's like I don't know. Like the way I think about it these days is ethics is a political thing because it requires being part of a community, and being a part of a community is a political act. Um, and that's kind of being informed. Like I think the reason I've scanned extra installation media. No, I'm good. No, I'm good. The reason I've been thinking more and more in that direction is probably because of what I've been reading. Um, like Aristotle and Plato were very much like the pole. I installed GNOME. I didn't mean to. I installed GNOME. I didn't. Interesting. I mean, like, even if you're dealing with a work of fiction, right? Like, it is interesting that to see a local or like in-universe politics play out, because you know that is like a like running a simulation of like how these things might play out in a real thing, right? It's kind of cool, kind of cool. Mostly security updates for now, but upcoming kernels will take back some default side channel mitigation breaks that aren't needed anymore. Kind of about real world politics. It has a lot. Apt install KDE full. Everybody know that GNOME is the way to go. Yeah, I mean, I guess this VM just has GNOME now. Whatever. Whatever, I guess. Cool. I guess it doesn't make that much big of a difference. I gave the thing 8 gigs of RAM, so we're going to be fine, right? 37 concurrent viewers? What is happening? It used to be, this is just doing progress bars, so we're gonna do this. It used to be that when I streamed tech things, my stream views went down a bunch, right? Like if I started yapping about the smartphone things, everybody was like having a great time, and then I switched to tech, and it was like, pew! And now I stream a thing titled Homelab planning session, and everybody pulls up. That's not a complaint at all. This is really fun. I'm really enjoying hanging out. I'm just constantly taken aback by how little I understand how YouTube works. The oldest sci-fi from PKT or Asimov was all about exploring political situations. Yeah. Close down the stream. Don't let them see what we were doing. New viewer here. How do I pronounce your name? Is that Terightful? You were on my recommended list, and I clicked. Well, welcome, welcome. I hope, stop gaining new viewers, bro. Stay niche. I think I'll stay niche for a pretty long time. And I like it that way. I mean, I was saying earlier to folks, like, making YouTube videos is really quite hard. Both, like, the actual work of it and the emotional challenges of, like, I don't know, to call back on 2012, dealing with haters. But streaming is just so much, it's such a joy. Like everyone here has always been super nice. It's always been really fun building alongside you and hearing about what you're building and chatting. This has always been my favorite part of it. I feel like I create YouTube videos because I have a need to make arguments. I find that really fun. But the streaming is like the real joy for me. It's what's like intrinsically a joy. This is not an open parasocial relationship. I like that. Okay, so let's see. We're lots to at least think of putting up a home lab. Yeah. I mean, it's a big crew of people thinking about this kind of project, right? It's getting bigger and bigger. I think I'm gonna spend a little bit of time on the tech side. I've been focusing on the smartphone addiction stuff for maybe a little while, and I'm feeling a home lab sprint for a bit, which is nice because I've been like gives me time to read without feeling like a lot of the time I'm trying to write articles or write video essays, and I feel like I haven't read the necessary background yet before I'm like qualified to talk about it. Not on YouTube Shorts because screw YouTube Shorts. Agreed. Yeah, I have like one YouTube short that went kind of huge, and it's such a weird experience because like I tried it. I like to experiment with anything, but making YouTube Shorts is not fun. And also like all of the things that suck about making YouTube videos, which is like people sometimes seemingly intend to ignore the context that you actually mean things in, and like there's all these miscommunications, and that leads to like very negative back and forth, and all of that is just like super amplified in YouTube Shorts. So it's, and then you make them and it's like it doesn't feel like you've made anything, you know, because it's just a YouTube short. Anyways, we're still I'm flicking back and forth over here. Yes, install grub. Yeah. Okay. So we're still installing. What do we got? But also is always to hide that from publisher. It's a way of talking about slavery without talking about it. Ooh. Hmm. All right. Well, while we wait for install, couple of fun things. Oh, installation complete. Oh, not installation complete. Installation complete? Stuff to tell. Um, oh, I think we're going. All right, here. We go back to the game. Boom. Wait, where's my face? Boom. My webcam's not working for some reason. I don't know. So we're getting this like side view thing happening. So I gotta go like, you know, that's that's something. Okay. I cannot believe I didn't spin this up headless. I feel like an idiot. But what are you gonna do? It didn't automatically add me to the sudoers file. That's interesting. Can I do this? Forget how it works. It's been a while. Okay. Did you ever get that Linux administrator cert? Nope. And that's why we're here. And I don't remember how to do basic things. Still on the list of stuff I want to do, but life got very busy. And life is remaining very busy. I'm planning a trip to Rome, which is really fun. Um, yeah. So forget people don't default to having 30 plus character long passwords. Why I have security brain rot. I mean, for local VMs and stuff, it's not that big a deal, right? That's kind of the way I think about it. Okay, so I'm not in the sudoers file. What shall I do about this? Can I log in as root from here? Am I going to have to open like a teletype? Surely not, right? Just add your user to the sudo group. Okay. I can do that? Okay, yeah. It's there. Okay, that's what it is. Local VMs don't get the strong password love they deserve. Truly. I think I just this. There we go. Now I need to add me. What do I do? It's like user mod dash AG, I think. Do I have a help here? No. User mod group does not exist. Awesome. And I don't have TLDR on this, but I do over here. User mod, right? Login, UID. No, that's not what I'm looking for. Eh. AG. Yeah, no, sudo user mod group one, group two, and I want to add me to sudoers, I guess. Is it wheel on wheels for Arch usually, right? So I can probably do a user mod dash AG group one, group two, and I'm looking for sudoers, wheel. Let's try these. None of those exist. Okay. Fun fact, there's a systemd replacement. Of course there is. Of course there is. Group is called sudo in Debian. Okay. Did I not do that? It's the first one I did, and it didn't like that. Oh, it's just mad because of everything else. Okay, so that worked, and then it gave me errors for all of the others. Awesome. Okay, so now I can probably do this. I probably have to start a new session, and then we can take it from there. Right? Sudo? Okay, tight. VI sudo can also be used. Ah, right. I'm glad I went the user mod way. That feels like a good way to do that. I'm curious about this. Is that it? Huh. Okay, well, I'm not going to mess around with that. Okay, so now we have to do Docker setup, which is going to be fun. Docker Debian install. I always forget how to do this. Let's do some note taking for prepping. So let's make a new header for Docker host. No, not self-hosting. We're doing a Docker host. And then from here, let's add some space. I'm surprised I don't have line runoff set. Host OS, it's just good old Debian 13. Next time, let's do it like that, just to keep the notes consistent. And yeah, let's do this. Installing Docker engine on Debian. Docs. Okay. Can you guys all see this just fine? All right, good luck, Ender. Have fun. Sudo edit, I think, or something. Okay. Cool, cool. All right. So I think all of this is just get rid of this crap just in case. And then all of this, install the Docker packages. Cool. All right, that works. So we got to do this from inside our VM. I'm going to close this, pop this over here. Can I paste into here? Wouldn't that be miraculous? I probably can. But I need... I'm definitely not typing that out. Do I just open that in the browser in here? Is that how I solve this problem? I guess so. Docker docs Debian. Plop that over there. How do I make this bigger? There must... How do I... Let's do... Is that what I want? Scaling. Local scaling? Remote resizing. Local cursor? Clip to window. View only? No. Let's do this. That'll do. That's not too bad. It's not beautiful, but it'll do. Okay, so we want to go up here and we want to start from uninstalling old things. And we're going to do this. Okay, and that's good news. That's kind of what we were hoping for. And then we want to do all of this. Can I alt tab these? No, I'm just going to do this sort of. SSH is your friend. Yes, let's do that. Nathan is not in the sudo. Yes, I am. I literally just added me. Interesting. Do I have SSH running? I'm a little rusty. Okay. How would I check that? I need to go through system control. What do we got? Write down the user mod command too as a note to future Nathan. Yeah. We just did a user mod -ag sudo Nathan, right? But that doesn't seem to have stuck, oddly enough. Maybe I needed to reboot. Yeah, because I started a new session. Okay, so let's get SSH running so that I don't have to deal with this nonsense. Oops, this. What do we have? Okay. Right. 10.88.111, and it's 58. Okay. And now, what do I got to do to check system control? What would I to check system control for SSH? Is it just SSH status? Something like this? Is that right? Status SSH. Okay, cool. All right, Oliver, have fun. Okay, I was right. I thought there was an SSH.d, but I was wrong about that. Okay, so we probably just need to start it up, or we need to install. Could be that. Start, or maybe enable SSH. Okay, so let's do Debian SSH. Why am I searching it up when I could do What might I want to do here? Apt search. Can I just do this? I've always been curious. I've seen SSH file server, file system a number of times. I'm really quite curious about that. Okay, open SSH client, but not the server. So I probably just want this. Sudo apt install open SSH server. I keep bumping up against this, so I'm just going to do this for now. Can I do this now? That looks correct. So it's enabled. I don't think I have to start it after I've enabled it, but whatever. And then we're going to do a... Can I just do reboot? Tight. Okay. See, normally I would go through the Debian setup process and disable and not install GNOME and set up the SSH server from the start. I didn't do that this time because, I don't know, I just sort of skipped past all of that like an idiot. Oh well. So we'll wait for that to reboot, and then we will get our SSH into that. Rebooting to committed changes, so Windows. Yeah, you're right. Maybe that's an old habit. Redward says, considering you are a home-labbing connoisseur, do you ever feel uncertain of the future we are building, considering how much of our online activity becomes a permanent data trail? Oh, okay, interesting. I'm looking forward to part 2 of your question. Yeah, that was fairly Windows of me. Yeah, I think give me a little more context with your question here. Like when you say feel uncertain of the future we're building, who are we in this case? And I don't know, a couple more things like that. Let's expand. But it sounds like a fun question to explore. Okay, I probably don't need to do that, and I can just do this. And it was 58. Yes. Woohoo! Okay, can I do this now? Sudo apt update. Right. So we need to go into the apt thing. Sudo. Do I have Vim? I don't. Ugh. I need a setup script for fresh Debian installs to just get me some absolute basics. That would be nice. Okay. So I can't. Well, I do have sudo. I'm just apt install Vim. We're chilling. Actually, plus, good, fun question. I added myself to the sudoers file. Was that reflecting properly? I think it was. Why did I? What was the purpose of my reboot? What did I think I was doing? Was it that I didn't think, or was it that I didn't think I had been successfully or properly added to sudoers, or was it that I thought I needed to do that for SSH? I can't imagine me being silly enough to think that I needed it for the SSH daemon to start because we enabled it, so it should have been on. Cloud.init for the Cloud.init would be a really fun way to handle that. Okay, we might play with that actually. Okay. A new login shell to refresh the groups. That's what I wanted to achieve. Right. How could I do that otherwise? Could I have just logged out of the system? Is that one of the ways I could do that? Interesting. Okay, that companies can just analyze, model, and potentially use to influence our behavior. Is this where your interest in home labbing comes from? Driven by distrust for large tech companies and surveillance? Ah, okay, good question. Oh yeah, sudo's working now. We're good. Flo says, "Hey, just tuned in, enjoying your takes on things. I'm running my own server as well, and was curious, is there any specific reason for you using Proxmox?" Um, I had Proxmox installed on another PC. Redward, I still see your question, and I am going to get to it. I'm just going to quickly jump through this, and then we're going to have a fun discussion on that. So let me poke open or go over to Facecam, and we're going to have a little talk about this. Okay, so first, why Proxmox? I went with Proxmox one because I was learning virtual machine orchestration. Broader context, most of what I choose to do is driven by what I want to learn right now. At least, especially last year. This year, I'm more focused on developing a robust system that I can actually self-host from more effectively. So we're taking some different tacts. Proxmox seems like the route I might go. So plus, I think I will at the very least explore the virtualized TrueNAS through Proxmox approach. We'll see about that because I don't actually have a my actual NAS is separate physically from my Proxmox machine, so that might not work. But I might just go TrueNAS on the NAS and see about things. I'm not sure yet. But anyways, Proxmox is just like, it gives you a lot of flexibility. If you have a machine with like more than 12 cores that you're using for home labbing, Proxmox gives you a lot of room to play. Having the ability to spin up an LXC, a VM, or go Docker hosts, or even Kubernetes if you want, is great for learning and exploring, which is most of what we do on stream. I don't build a lot of things that work. So yeah, that answers that question. Now, let's talk about Redward's question here. So, first off, I'm flattered that you call me a home labbing connoisseur. I think of myself as a public idiot most of the time. But thank you. Appreciate that. Do you ever feel uncertain about the future we're building, considering how much of our online activity becomes a permanent data trail? Right. Yes. So, that is... I started home labbing because I think Linux is cool and fun. So that's step one. Then I also started exploring the digital minimalism, digital ethics stuff, mostly centered around the attention economy, as a separate problem. The more I peer into issues of like surveillance capitalism and how they create data trails that make it more possible for for big companies to model us and thus more finely tune attention grabbing things to us, the more I see home labbing as an act of resistance against that. Because you can't build addictive, like, why would they build addictive mechanisms into Jellyfin, right? Like, there's no incentive to do that. And there's no way they can grab information off of that, right? That you wouldn't consent to. So yes, I do. I do see it as that. I do see my home labbing as part of my kind of like attention economy, anti big tech space. Yeah. I hope that answers your question. Please feel free to ask me more and explore further. Like, it's a fun question. And it's one that I'm currently parsing out, right? Like, I'm still exploring it, but yes, more or less yes is yeah. TrueNAS on Proxmox on my Ugreen NAS with SATA controller pass through. Yes. Yeah, I'm really considering that. So we'll see how it pans out. My compute is more or less separate from my NAS at the moment though, which makes it a little tricky. I'm thinking of installing Proxmox on my laptop and my home folder on the host to distro hop between LXCs. I'm told I can run PM backup and a VM plugged to an external drive. Oh, interesting. I feel like that would lead to not a great user experience day to day. And that would be my main sort of gripe or concern. But it does sound like a really cool idea. Okay, where were we over here? We installed Vim. Right. Okay, we installed Vim. We can close this. And we needed to update stuff in Etsy apt. So we're going to go... I'm just going to do this. I know. What are you going to do? apt, right? And then I can go sources, I think. I guess that's not in use. Yeah, so I should get a newer thing here. All right. What do I want? So Debian 13 sources.list. I probably want to just grab something a little bit more up to date because it's being like that's a little bit weird. Bookworm. That's a little old. Oh, yes, they have the new format. Okay, I'm just gonna yoink this, and then we're gonna do a little. Oh, oh, trailing characters. Bookworm Trixie. Hello. Contrib main. I need contrib in here as well. All right, let's. There we go. And then we're gonna add contrib in this. Interesting, makes perfect sense. It's just that I see Proxmox often, but I have no real use case for virtual machines. Just running OMV, and every server is a Docker container, and that covers all for me. Yeah, it's that sounds like it would work very well, and I think it works well for a lot of people. So I'm not too surprised. I think I'm balancing. Why am I doing this one by one? Okay, well I can't type. Sorry, I'm trying to have this conversation while typing contrib over and over again, and it's not going well for me. Okay, so apt update, and that should help. And let's do an apt upgrade. Okay. Yeah, I think Open Media Vault used in that way is going to work great for a lot of people. I'm balancing self-hosting and home labbing, which I make distinct. Self-hosting is to me what I consider like doing something like running production services. Dot. Oh, and is magic. What does that operation do? I mean, dot for I know dot just repeats the last sort of motion or something along those lines. Is the command you're telling me just dot or actually literally quotation dot quotation? The difficulties of text, right? Yeah, I found virtual machines really helpful for home labbing because having that separated out, we're just going to go this. Having just being able to isolate something in a virtual machine is really nice just for experimentation. But if I were just right, I don't mean that in some sort of like, oh, you're just hosting things, like nothing like that. But if that's what you're doing, then Proxmox seems to me unnecessary, which really maybe answers my question. Maybe what I'm doing is unnecessary. Maybe I'm making this overly complicated. I don't know. We'll see. Repeat last operation. Yes. Enter text, escape, then dot every. Yes. Okay, that makes sense. I knew that too. It's weird that I didn't do that. I guess I am a little rusty. One of the downsides, like at work, a lot of the coding that I do these days is like in cursor. The coding that I do, right? And so my NeoVim skills have been kind of rotting, and I haven't been doing as much home labbing. So I feel like I'm rusty. I always feel a little rusty after it's been a while since we've done some Linuxy stuff on stream. Yeah. Lo-Fi Turtle says, I did all my learning on a single host, and it def got in the way. Proxmox would have been nice if I had known about it at the time. Good to know. Okay, cool. So we're going to exit out of here because now we got this going. And Right. Now we can do the Docker things. Let's do this. Nope. I want to go over here. Nope. I'm in all the wrong places at all the wrong times. For beginners, set up Proxmox backup server first. Break stuff and easily find back on file or VM level. Sure, there are also snapshots. Excuse me, but snapshots are best in hindsight. Yes. Okay. So let's do this, and we're good. And now we can do this. Excellent. And now we can do this. Yeah, so I take it if we had a newer installer of Debian 13, because ours was like really early. It was like shortly after Debian 13 just came out of beta. Then we wouldn't have had some of those sources issues. But whatever. Okay. Leor says, why do you think people have baller servers for home use? I just use Zima OS with a RAID 5 setup and an old laptop from 2006 with Debian. I think a lot of the time for fun, right? Like a lot of the time it's for fun. It's people who are like in IT, who have a background in tech, are used to working with certain kinds of hardware, are exploring maybe some of this hardware because they're interested in using it for work, or they're importing their information from work, that kind of thing. I like when you've been kind of home labbing for a while, like bigger and bigger tech just seems like more and more fun to work with. You know, if you really love the home labbing aspect, not the self-hosting aspect, then it's really cool to just have cooler hardware to work on. I think that's a big part of it. Um, I can't think of a lot of like things that would require that much actual juice though. Yeah. I do most of my self-hosting from a single Docker Compose file, and it works pretty well. The only place it fails is networking, specifically MDNS, DLNA stuff. Interesting. Okay. So we've done this, and it's time to do a sudo system control status Docker. Oh, it is running. Interesting. Yep. Cool. Does this pull an image? It does. Okay. Cool. So we've got our Docker. Now let's do this. I'd rather run Postgres. I don't really know why. I just feel like that makes sense. So we're going to do it that way. Where do we want to set things up? Unfortunately, we have a whole user here with stuff, which is a little annoying, but whatever. We're going to do this. And then we're going to go Dockhand. It's been a long time since I've done Docker Compose things, but we'll see. Yeah, okay. Dockhand. I'm going to assume this works as is. This looks weird to me, but whatever. Is this right? Permission denied. Right. Now, the question is why? Is there... What have I forgotten to do? I haven't escalated. I haven't, like, given appropriate privileges. I'm running Docker as Nathan, right? Not as root. Do I want to try to handle rootless crap? I don't know. I always forget. Do you for those of you running Docker Compose, how do you handle permission-y things and issues of that nature? Do you just run as root? Do you assign appropriate privileges? What's your solution there? Yeah. So we were denied Postgres was denied access to the Docker socket. Join the Docker group. Okay. Sudo user mod ag docker. Can I just, is that the syntax? Oops. And we're going to throw that in there. So we're going to want both of these in the future. Now, that wouldn't have been there originally when we actually ran that command first, but that's okay for now. We'll just remember that we do. We'll just remember that we do. That's a stupid statement. No. We'll just remember, he said, and caught himself immediately. We'll just remember. What the f... Who am I? I just run as root and choose to fix permissions issues if they come up. It hasn't been a big deal so far. Ah, fair enough. I think that's probably how I would have done it. Interesting. So I've added myself to Docker, right? The question is, did I do this incorrectly? I don't think so. Do I need a new session? Potentially. Maybe let's do a little exit situation over here. And then pop back in. Docker, doc. Yes, I just needed a new session. Okay, note to self. You add yourself to a group, you need a new session. Is there any way to refresh that? Can I like source? We're not seeing your screen. Oh my god. Sorry, guys. I have been chugging away and making progress and just yapping at you. What are we going to do? Okay, so that's up and running. And then what port is it on? 3000? Okay. So 10.88.111.58.3000. Cool. Yeah, no, that's the right IP address, right? And it is most certainly up. Who am I is a question your shell can answer. Yeah. For user management stuff, the answer is usually no. I see. You can exec SG. Huh. Slowly transitioning from GNU screen to Tmux. Thanks for the nudge. Tmux is really better. Using Control A in Bash Tmux sessions, finally. Nice! Congratulations. I've used GNU screen like once or twice, and I was shocked at how much more functionality Tmux had. It's really something. Okay, so why don't I have access to this? Well, let's do something interesting. Now, I don't think this is going to mean anything. Sorry for flicking back and forth. I'm trying to find something. I'm trying to find my window. There it is. We're going to go, let's plop this over here and this over here and this over here. There we go. And then we're going to pop this console open. So I'm going to see if I can access it from the VM. Like, wait, 88.111.58.3000. No. And if I try localhost, ooh, is that going to work? No. Okay, so something funky is happening here. I'm not sure exactly what it is. Docker compose, is it status? Docker compose logs? List running compose projects. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know about that. I feel like I definitely should have known about that. Because I've just been doing Docker oh. Dockhand image. Are we only Postgres is up? But yeah. Oh yeah, sorry. You didn't see my Docker compose file. So I just copy pasted this off the thing. So what we should have, actually, come to think of it, let me maybe tmux up. Because that would be nice here. Tmux. New? What is it? It's like new. Forget. I rarely have to do this, and I always forget that the tmux help command sucks. -s. Docker. Okay. So let's open this up over here and pop over here. So we should have two images running, or two containers running rather. We should have Postgres and we should have Docker, or Dockhand, right? So if we pop back over here and we do a Docker PS, I only see one container. That's weird, right? Now, if we do a Docker compose up, it's only finding this. What's up with that? Hate when the help is just command skill issue get good. Yeah, I'm lazy. Tmux to start one, tmux-a to open the last one. Ah, smart. ps-a. Are you serious? So why was ps only showing me one, but ps-a was it shows me both? I guess you're holding it wrong. You know, thanks, guys. I appreciate this. I often feel a little self-conscious about being an idiot live. And when you all crack jokes with me about how silly Linuxy things are, it actually helps. Okay, so we got the port map correct. Both containers are running. Oh, wait a second. This one just launched. It took a second. Is it because, do we have a depends? It's a depends. There we go. It's a depends. ps-a should show stopped, but this one is running. Right. So I think what happened was Postgres actually just took a while, and I was impatient. So Postgres took 4 minutes to get running properly. And once that happened, then Dockhand was able to launch because it depends on Postgres. Yeah? So now, if we reload this, I'm Mickey Mouse apparently, but we're good to go. Cool. Now, let's have some fun. Let's add an environment. I don't know. What did we call this? We called it Dockhand. Let's call it Dockhand host. No labels, Unix socket, blah, 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 public IP 10.88.111.58. Add. Okay. Is it? It's, well, that's easy. I liked that. Stacks. Oh. Oh, but hell yeah. This is great. What is adopt? What does this do? Adopt stacks, browse to a compose file or scan. Okay, cool. From Git. Okay. Compose file path to the compose file within the repository. Excellent. So we can have a number of stacks in a single repository. I was like, wait, do I need a different Git repository for every single one? That sounds terrible. Okay, I like this. I like this. Git ops makes me wiggly, makes me happy. So this looks cool. Is Portainer last year now? It is. It is. I've seen like Dockhand came out, and I like look at this. You got all the things. You got volumes and images and psh, it's good stuff. There's a shell, so you can just shell into your containers. Can I really? Can I do this? Oh hell yeah! Like that's pretty nice. I can check logs. Oh, yeah. Oh yeah. That's good stuff, man. Okay. So, cuz I used to do this plan. Mac auto setup? No. I'm surprised at how many people are starring this. I think that's the most stars I've ever had on GitHub. Where is my old this guy? So my previous approach was just like I ran a make file, right, and just did that, which fairly reasonable, but still. Okay, so what this means? What does this mean exactly? There's still some stitching up that needs to do because part of me wants to make this entirely automatable. Let's go. Let's do this. Oh my god. Sorry, I know I'm coming across a little frustrated today. I did not get a lot of sleep, and so I'm a little bit more agitated than usual. I'll have to try Dockhand. This looks so much better than all the menu stuff I'm doing. Yeah, it looks really good. I was inspired by something similar I was using for Kubernetes, and I was like, well, I mean, Docker is simple enough that I could manage it with a makefile and a bunch of Docker composes, which I was already backing up on Git anyways. The question is, okay, so I have this thing now, right? Let's somewhere I have this thing. Somewhere I have this GUI, and I can have the GUI track all of my stacks, my compose stacks, right? And now if something goes wrong, yeah, thanks plus. Appreciate that. Yeah, I'm not even into like I wasn't tracking the Olympics that close, but that one stung. Like I'm not much of a sports guy. I don't know if that comes across, but I'm not much of a sports guy. But Canada losing was not my favorite thing in the world. Um, okay, so we've got this GUI, and I always ask the question: is the GUI worth the work? Right? Because I'm gonna have to use the GUI to set up these stacks. Um, does Dockhand have like a CLI that can automate importing stuff? I don't know, right? Because we're gonna have a lot of things. So let's talk about things, right? Oh, that's not right. We want boom. We're gonna have a lot of stuff, right? And I think manually setting up Git syncing for every single one of these things is gonna suck. And if it ever crashes, I'll be sad. I mean, we are going to do Proxmox backup server stuff, right? This time. So we will have some backing up to help. It's unlikely we lose everything. Well, we have the volumes, right? If I load up the volume, it'll have all the config. Here's a question. What goes in there? Like what's in my volume? Where did the volume go? That's another question. Okay, let's try this. I want to go make dir volume, right? And then I'm going to go Docker compose down. I don't need a -d for that, right? And then we're going to do this. We have Postgres data. What's the syntax for this? I don't have an LLM I use very often. Me neither, but Norway got the most gold medals. Kind of sick. A friend from America told me this. Congrats to Norway. We sucked at alpine sports, which is pretty bad when your country consists of 65% Alps. Okay, what's the Docker? Volumes syntax. I forget exactly how that works. No, I want the Docker compose. Volumes. Interesting. Oh, they're right here. I'm stupid. Dockhand data, app data, Postgres data, varlib PostgreSQL data. Which side is which again? The DB data volume is mounted at, and Etsy data. That's where it's mounted at. So this is source, and this is this is destination. Okay. So what I would like to do is move this, which would give me, where are we? Home, Nathan, Docker, Dockhand, volume. So I would need to go, we're gonna move volume to volumes. And then in volumes, we're gonna make dir Postgres, and we're gonna make Dockhand. Now this is unnecessary, I think, but I'm kind of just sort of cooking around and having fun. So we're gonna go user. Where were we? Wait, I don't need to do that. Hold on, hold on. I want to flex some Vim skills here. I think I can do a what's the thing? It's rbang pwd. Yeah. There we go. This is gonna have a new line though, so I can't. So let's just. There we go. Can I go like that? And I can go like that. Okay, that made me happy. I did a Vim thing. Docker volume ls and Docker volume inspect is what you need. Wait, okay, let's try that. Hold on. Docker volume ls gives me that. Yes. Docker volume inspect. What does this do? So let's try dockhand data. Cool. Yeah, so it's doing this like central Docker volumes. I usually don't like that. Then again, we probably in the future don't want to git sync our Docker volumes, right? That probably would be bad. That would be bad. Okay. I mean, that's worth considering. What would be a nice way to handle Docker volumes, do you think? How do I want to deal with that? Yeah, git syncing Postgres is bad. Yeah, okay. Yeah, solid. So we don't want to do that at all. I did want to look at the Dockhand data. Can I? Well, what we could do, hold on. So I don't need this. Where's my Dockhand? It's here? No? Here. Let's take a look. No volumes found. Oh, right, because I dropped it. So let's just undo all this. But at least I did a cool Vim trick, and that makes me happy. And then we're going to do a Docker compose up. We're going to reboot that. We got volumes. Now, you can just browse files. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Cool. This is pretty good, guys. This is pretty good. So I guess there are a few, like one of the things we might want to think about is how we handle backing up volumes, right? So let's start chatting about that. This all went more or less good. Hey Gordon, how's it going? Just venting, but the spike in hard drive costs makes me so sad. Same with RAM. Yeah, same. I wanted to buy some hard drives. I guess I'm not buying hard drives. Like, what? What am I supposed? This sucks. What are the like? I don't know. What do I do now? It's $100 for 2 terabyte drives. What is that? I don't know, man. Okay. Anyways. Okay, so we have backups. Maybe Backblaze, cool. Uh, how do we want to handle Docker volume backups, if at all, right? Um, because we could just, this is big enough for folks, we could just back up the Docker host as a VM, right? That's an option. We could explicitly back up the Docker. Where exactly does that go? Varlib Docker volumes. Backup varlib Docker volumes, right? We could create some sort of backup to the NAS. Okay. Mm, I guess the real question I want to ask is how easy is it to restore our um, Dockhand, Docker GUI management tool? Is the restore process worth um, process good? I don't want to repeat manual clicking. That's my big thing. I don't want to do a bunch of manual clicking. So actually, this gives us another interesting question, right? So we have a stack here. We have a stack, and it's running. If we go to Dockhand data, open this up, stacks is empty, right? Why is it empty? We have a stack. Git repo. I mean, Git repos make sense, but why is the stack empty? And what's in the Postgres? I mean, obviously we're not going to get anything out of this. I'd have to shell in, and I don't do a lot of Postgres. I suppose I can learn. We can explore today. Do I have PSQL? Role root does not exist. Okay. We just got to save extra money to get what we need. Yeah. 4 to 500 for 8 TB. Oh my God. Okay. Well, that's fun. Okay, so if we don't go with Postgres as a container, right, then we just have a SQLite file. And that's kind of the configuration of Docker of Dockhand. Dockhand is just a SQLite file, right? And backing that up is nice and easy. So that's fun. We could do that. And then our management is pretty simple. Okay. Am I overthinking this or underthinking this? Do that. If we, how do we want to handle Docker volume backups? Let's go like this, Dockhand. Because that's the thing that I'm concerned with. No, it's not. It's not though, right? There are configurations. There are going to be configurations for every single one of my Docker containers, and all of them are going to be important, right? Okay. Just back up the Docker host as a VM. Where do I want my Docker volumes to live? That's a good question, right? Are they on the VM? Do I put all the volumes on the NAS uh, via what's it called? What am I looking for? Like NFS? That could be interesting. Would that slow things down? Would doing volumes via NFS slow things down? I don't know. Interesting. This is the first time hearing of Dockhand. I'll have to try it out. I use Dockj. Ooh, what's Dockj? Dockj. Oh, I've heard about this. I think a friend of mine does as well. Yes, I'm really impressed with Dockhand. Proxmox Ceph. I don't know a lot about Proxmox Ceph. Let's take a look. Okay, well that's seeming like a lot to learn. High availability storage. I don't know if I want to go that far for this because we have. What are our design principles? Do we have any design principles? I mean, I want to minimize complexity for the hosting for self-hosting, right? I want good backups and robust. I want good backups and robust, kind of on the security and infrastructure side of things. Yeah, good backups. Let's just leave that as its own. Um, I want to do like, whoa, where's principles? Observability and infra handled first before features. That's one thing we're doing. Ceph is basically VMware vSAN, local speed plus clustered object file store. Okay. Okay. We'll spend some time looking at it. Yeah, because I want to explore the ID provider stuff properly and do some decent security work. But there's work before we even get to the Docker host itself and the Docker containers, right? Because there's all of the storage management and backup stuff. Apparently is pronounced dockage. Lol. It's pretty lightweight, but I've never run into an issue where it couldn't handle something. Nice. I like. I play the Riot game Teamfight Tactics, and like it is part of the culture of Teamfight Tactics to just add the j to the end of anything you say. Like bed is bedge. I don't know. So when I saw dockj, I was like, oh, perfect, right in line. Hmm. Okay. Well, these are some of our ideas. Now we want to now obviously if we're minimizing complexity at the same time as handling good backups, observability and infrastructure, there's going to be trade-offs. Like I know this is going to be a good way to go. Backing up the TrueNAS VM. Hmm. Wait, is proton GE pronounced protonage? I like that. I like that. I mean, I would just say protonge, but I'd definitely be wrong. Just be the most fun way to say it. Okay. Yeah, I don't know how to explore these. I don't know what I want to do. Okay, so here's a problem. Let's chat a little bit. I could use some help here. So my NAS is currently in use, right? Protonge. My NAS is currently in use. I use it for video editing. And we've done so much work on it. I what do I do, man? I am stuck. There are so many decisions to make. Hmm. Well, all right. What else we got in our document? I'm having trouble thinking this through. I think because I don't have a very clear understanding of what the Proxmox backup solution even looks like. I haven't done that very much. I haven't explored Ceph. Maybe let's take a look at Ceph together. Let's just start poking about. I wonder why. Oh, that worked this time. Proxmox VE unifies your compute and storage systems. That is, you can use the same physical nodes within a cluster for both computing and replicated storage. Oh, the traditional silos of compute and storage resources can be wrapped up into a single hyper-converged appliance. Okay, this might be interesting because if I put Proxmox on my NAS and Proxmox on my compute, then they're part of one Ceph cluster. Separate storage networks, SANs, and connections via network attached storage, NAS, disappear. With this integration of Ceph, an open source software-defined storage platform, Proxmox VE has the ability to run and manage Ceph storage directly on the hypervisor nodes. Oh, every time I put off listening to Plus, it's a huge mistake. This seems really cool and probably like what I want to do. I am a little afraid that it's going to be complicated beyond what I'm ready to handle, but at the same time, I don't know. Okay. Ceph. So let's go over to Proxmox. Here's data center. Nodes. So this is my big compute node. Right? I'm in folder view, server view. Oh wow. There's a lot of cool ways to look at this. I didn't know this. Okay. Now, Ceph. How do I look at the Ceph thing? This is not. I think this is probably. Is it under data center? Yes, it is. Okay. Sure, let's do it. Ceph is a unified thing, yeah. The biggest drawback of Ceph is that you need unallocated storage for it, and the usual setup already has everything in LVM or ZFS. Right. Okay. Let's explore this further. So unallocated storage. How does Ceph handle my disks? I guess that's a good question. Let's start to explore that a little further. So this sounds really cool. I've used ZFS before. I haven't used Ceph. I'm curious about how to manage like volumes and storage. Ceph object storage daemons store objects for Ceph over the network. It is recommended to use one OSD per physical disk. I'm gonna need to watch like a YouTube tutorial on this. Okay. For example, for ZFS or as an OSD, you first need to zap all traces of that usage. So maybe more like a backlog for the next cluster. Well, the thing is, we don't have anything set up, right? Like I'm kind of taking this whole year to just think about how I want to build my Homelab. And so if we want to do something like this, we have time, we have space. That's why I'm taking the time to document and learn ahead of building things this time, instead of just sort of like ramming my head at it. So this could work. I guess I would have to consider the pros and cons of ZFS versus Ceph. And right now, if the whole cluster, like if I don't have to deal with NFS stuff within the cluster and Samba stuff, like because my NAS is physically separate, that might be really cool. But then I guess my question is, what is what does TrueNAS do? What does TrueNAS in a VM do if I'm using Ceph? How do those two interact, if at all? Okay, let's do a little Googling. Ceph and ZFS. Okay, so they're doing a versus. I don't know if this is a versus question. Is this a versus question? You're already on ZFS, so replication is a valid option. True. Okay. Sorry, when you say replication, do you mean replicating my existing solution, or do you mean replicating the data into Ceph somehow? Or do you mean setting up TrueNAS and then I sort of like import my ZFS or my Z pools? ZFS focuses on protecting data inside a single server or small cluster through strong integrity, check snapshots, and predictable performance. Yeah. Ceph is designed for distributed environments where storage spans multiple machines and must remain available during failure. This is like intention-wise very different from what we're doing, but interesting. ZFS replication. I feel like I remember that, but it's been a long time. I'll just ZFS replication is a feature that allows you to create copies of your data from one ZFS file system to another ZFS file system, which can be useful for backup and disaster recovery. Ah, yes. I remember this. Now I remember. Okay. Ceph is best when you have 2+ nodes with an equal amount of local storage. Okay, so that won't be true, right? We won't have equal amounts. Ceph is a software-defined distributed storage system that pools disks from multiple servers into a single shared platform that stays available even when hardware fails. It is built for scale, fault tolerance, and cloud-style environments where storage must grow without downtime. So that's probably not what we're doing. Distributed architecture, self-healing storage, horizontal scalability, that's not what we're doing. High availability. That's cool. Cloud and Kubernetes friendly. That would make sense. Yeah. Okay. So probably not going down the Ceph rabbit hole, but very cool. I would love to spend time with that at some point. Okay. So let's play with some questions here. We still have 2 physical devices to deal with. Do I want to put TrueNAS scale on that thing? And what are the benefits of that? What are the benefits of switching? Because I've just got Debian. I've never used TrueNAS scale. I've actually never used it, which is kind of crazy. I know it's like a big deal. I also hear it's frustrating. TrueNAS Connect is an optional web-based control panel that simplifies day-to-day management of your TrueNAS software. I wonder what I want to do with this. I'm going to have to do some thinking about this offline. There's a lot. I think, how much time we got left? We got 15 minutes on stream. Well, I don't want to get a quote. I want to download TrueNAS scale. I want an ISO. And we can maybe poke around a little bit. Download. Yep. There we go. Where? Hello? Okay. Where is the download button? Why are they making this difficult for me? I don't want to subscribe to your newsletter. I just want to download. TrueNAS scale is super stable if you use it as an appliance. That makes sense. Okay. Why is it? Okay. Here's the download. Yeah. I don't want to discover. I want to. Am I dumb? Where's the download button? Tell me I don't have to go through and subscribe. Like, what? What was that? That's bizarre. And even your link is not working. What? This it? This seems like a virus. Something about that scares me. That's why you use 10-minute mail. True. I used to use 10-minute mail to make RuneScape accounts. Okay, but for real, what? Are you kidding me? I ha- Are you serious? Well, that's incredibly frustrating. Cool. All right. I cannot believe that's the way that's designed. We'll play around with TrueNAS scale probably tomorrow, or not. Sorry, not tomorrow. Later this. Talk about dark patterns. Yes, seriously. Probably next stream we'll poke around. But yeah, I have continuously heard really positive things about TrueNAS scale, and as much as it was really fun learning NFS a little bit and all of that jazz, I do just want my NAS to be a NAS and work. So that might be the way. I'm sure I can import the existing Z pools without being too confused and then mount things appropriately. Unfortunately, that's still going to be like a weekend, right? That I dedicate to that project when things are in flux. All right, Tim, nice hanging out. Have a good night. I will be signing off soon too. Where do I throw my ISOs again? I always forget. Wait, you can manage ZFS straight from Proxmox? That's nice. Okay. Storage. I think it's over here. ISO images. Upload. Select file. TrueNAS scale. There we go. I remember. Good night, good night. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll play with TrueNAS scale next time. I don't have drives, so we're just gonna be poking around the GUI. But we'll see if we can like figure out some NFS, like the mounting and all of that. And if we can get that working really nicely, then that should be pretty sweet. Folder view, server view. Okay, so I'm gonna shut down this VM for now because I don't need it running in the background. I shut it down just to start it up again. Okay. Now that's it. We'll handle TrueNAS next stream. There's no reason for me to be poking about that today. Okay. So, what did we learn today? Dockhand is awesome. We clearly need to consider how we're using our hardware better. I think we're falling down the pit of TrueNAS scale for storage, but we'll consider. We're probably ruling out Ceph here. And I am still very much committed to Proxmox as a really cool tool. So we're going to be doing that for compute probably. I'll need to map out my backups and we'll explore from there. Dixie asks, it's not a crappy question at all. I really want, I think, to get into an IT job. Where does one start with no education or professional experience? That's a good question. I don't know if I have much of an answer for it though. Like I got very lucky. So I have like a computer science degree too, and I have a number of friends from school who kind of helped me into my positions. Um, but I have heard like Network Chuck has pretty decent sounding advice on this. So I think he recommends sort of a route through sort of starting at a help desk and taking on a series of like IT certifications as you go. The certifications are, from what I hear, really good. I have yet to do the one that I keep saying I'm going to do. Um, but they're like, depending on where you go, they're fairly well respected and they are actually informative, like quite informative. So you can learn that way. Of course, you're here doing your self-hosting and stuff. You're the one who taught me how what's it called? The image, how image works. So uh, like it sounds like you've got a pretty good grasp. Yeah, I think I would recommend looking for sort of IT help desk roles. I don't know. I'm not sure. I wish I could be of more help. Um, okay. Is there anything else? Yeah, moving forward, what else are we gonna do? I want to do a little bit of cleanup. I guess before I make the transition to TrueNAS scale on my NAS, right? Before I do that, I'm gonna want to map out like the series of commands to import my Z pools because I want to minimize downtime and I want to be able to quickly set up my production this guy so that I can start recording videos again with my NAS. Because that would be disastrous. Actually, well, the movies are a big deal. That needs to be imported because getting Big Buck Bunny that many times onto my drives again would be a huge pain. If you know what I mean. So, hmm, there's some planning and work that needs to be done, I think. But yeah, Dixie, don't worry about that. That's not a crappy question at all. If I could give you a really good answer, I absolutely would, and we welcome people who are curious and excited about IT and tech and chatting about it anytime. So look for some low hanging fruit. Yeah, I think so. I think that would be my approach, right? Um, maybe get your like what you've done on the web somehow, either on GitHub or on your personal website. That's a lot of, I mean, that was one of the big motivators for me for even starting a YouTube channel. So that, I mean, you do have a whole self-hosting setup from what I understand, and if you could write a blog about that or throw some of your configs and the explanation of why your system is designed the way that it is on Git, it's a good choice. I think that would help distinguish you from just like some guy who's applying to a help desk job. Why are you able to help these people? Right? I think you'll be able to actually provide an answer for that. Okie dokie. Hmm. Yeah, so I want to create a plan for my backups, or like importing and connecting right out the gates, making sure that's ready to go, so I can move with confidence. Right, right. Yeah. Okay, Proxmox and TrueNAS feel like good solutions. I am really happy with these two devices, so I don't think I need to move that. I don't need to make a jump. Uh, in my ideal world, I would have some new drives, but my pair of 4 TB and my pair of 2 TB will have to do. Uh, I guess I am going to stick with mirrored pairs for that. I am still considering virtualizing the Zima client, but maybe I just go straight through image. I don't know. Okay, so that's something worth planning. I'm gonna put this in my to-dos in the markdown document. To-dos. Uh, Plan out how you'll handle storage for each media type and how it will map to the Docker containers storage. Yeah, that's an important one for me because I want kind of like an app agnostic storage for media that can be taken up into apps fairly easily, right? So I want just like images and then image to take it up as an external volume, for example, or like books and for Booklore to take that up. I don't want to have them like exclusively handled through the app. That sounds not good. So I think that might be a principle of ours, a design principle. App agnostic media storage structure. That's probably something we'll do. Okay, I will try to find some time to think about this off screen so that I'm not like rambling at you all next time. But yeah, anyways, this has been fun. Thank you all for hanging out, for your help as usual, for dealing with my rusty Linux and Vim skills. Um, I will catch you all next time. Okay, bye everyone.